Discover the touching moment. A rancher's joke revealed a surprising love with a Chinese widow. Jack Thompson stood at the bar, ribbing a round of laughter out of the townsfolk over his latest joke about hay bales. The jovial energy was his armor, and his humor was a shield he wielded against the lingering shadows of grief. But as he regaled the crowd with punchlines somewhere deep within him, a twin sentiment of sadness reluctantly simmered, stubborn like the clay of Texas that caked his boots. The laughter was good, nearly intoxicating, yet each chuckle reminded him of the absence where warmth once thrived. His late wife's laughter was an echo he could not escape. He focused instead on the joke, the punchline he delivered so easily. But the truth, the missing pieces of his life, weighed heavily on his heart. Yet tonight, something felt different. As he looked up from his baleful tales, his gaze caught a figure in the corner. Mei Lin, radiant yet guarded, peeked out from her own veil of loneliness. She was new, alone in a space that felt brittle under judgmental eyes. The crowd hazed around her. Their laughter obscured the sorrow they shared. Jack's heart raced at the uninvited thought of connection, yet it was coupled with an uncomfortable stirring. Should he invite her in, or should he remain a sentinel at his fortress of memories, holding vigil for a love that had long been lost? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. After the brief distraction of engagement with his audience, the pressure surged back. They found themselves trading tales like they had known each other for ages, each story layered with the heavy textures of loss. Jack's usual rhythm faltered. Laughter slipped through his fingers. His loyal heart was like a stubborn steer, refusing to move toward the new pasture of possibility. Could he afford to look forward, to let go of what was when Mei had her past trailing behind her? Shadows from her life in China danced more ominously with every honest sentence she shared. The weight bore down on Jack. Could he harbor kindness or affection toward someone who bore the weight of a life so different from his own? Doubt and hope twisted together in an unrelenting dance in the pit of his stomach. Every chuckle that erupted from their intimate exchanges stung like a prickly pear, reminding him of the scorn lurking among thickened town gossip. He could almost feel the resentment on his shoulders, dead weight whispered behind closed doors. What if they were right? What if he were chasing folly? But Mei's laughter was a fresh breeze, stirring something he thought had wilted. In the midst of this blossoming connection, Jack's daughter stumbled upon remnants of Mei's life. A box of letters, traces of longing and heartache. The discovery felt like a rattler's strike, prompting unease that widened the cracks in Jack's emotional wall. In that moment, Jack faced the true tumult of his soul. The question echoed relentlessly. Could he risk it all? Could he dare reach toward love again or retreat to the confines of his broken past? As the evening deepened, so did his anguish, leaving him teetering at the brink of a choice that could alter everything. As the laughter of the bar faded into the dimness of the evening, Jack Thompson felt as if he were encased in amber, a captive of time, isolated in a fragile moment of impending change. The humorous facade he wore so comfortably at the bar seemed to slip, revealing the raw edges of his heart aching to change his story. Mei Lin's presence was magnetic, an unspoken challenge that tugged insistently at his defenses. Yet Jack remained anchored to his grief, a reluctant sailor caught in a tempest with no desire to set sail. His daughter, affectionately demanding yet unwavering, sensed the shift within him. "Dad, you've been different lately," she observed with a youthful bluntness that penetrated Jack's guard. "What's going on with you?" The innocent inquiry acted as a catalyst, triggering thoughts he had tucked away like old shirts at the back of his closet. What had he become? A widower retreating into the reverence of memory? Or a man approaching the precipice of new beginnings? That night he found himself unable to shake the vision of Mei's tentative smile. It was the smile not of someone simply trying to fit in, but rather one that seemed to beckon him towards empathy, towards understanding the weight of loss she bore. Each glimpse of her through the haze of the bar's laughter compelled him to confront the growing pile of emotions within him. He needed to know her story, not to fix it but to acknowledge it, to weave their experiences like intricate threads of a tapestry, distinct yet connected by the thread of grief. The next morning, while the sun rose with a zeal that mockingly cast light on his tormented thoughts, Jack faced an unrelenting truth. He needed to make a choice. He had a responsibility not only to his own heart, but to his daughter, who witnessed his struggle daily. Reflecting in the mirror, he confronted the familiar weariness in his eyes, the recognition that preservation of the past was only a half-life. With each breath, he willed himself to reframe his narrative, to see beyond the solemnity of his joys lost. Determined, Jack approached Mei Lin's modest dwelling, a humble structure nestled among the sprawling Texas landscape. The path felt as unsteady as his heart, filled with both hope and trepidation. He had rehearsed his words 100 times over, but as he knocked on her door, the echoes of doubt knocked louder. What if this connection he craved was only folly, a fleeting distraction from the weight of his reality? The door opened, and there she stood, the morning sun framing her figure, brightening her features with a soft glow. The vulnerability in her expression mirrored his own. Jack was on the cusp of an important conversation, one that could define the direction of both their lives. "Can we talk?" he asked, his voice steadier than he felt. As they settled on rustic chairs, surrounded by a landscape both foreign and familiar, the revelation between them began to unfurl, a moment poised like an unturned page in a book filled with potential. But as they ventured deeper into their shared histories, an unsettling revelation twisted in Jack's gut, a reminder of the town's razor-edged gossip that lurked beneath the surface. Would they be able to navigate the murky waters of their emotional attachments without spilling the burdens of their past? The anxiety wrapped around him tightly, stifling his next breath. Little did he know that in their meeting lay not only the germination of a profound new bond, but also a confrontation with the town's judgment that threatened to break him anew. Would he embrace the uncertain path ahead, or retreat into the shadows of safety once again? The vibrations of resolve quaked through him as he prepared to step into the unknown, a dance with vulnerability where the stakes became ever more pronounced. The clarity of his intentions collided with the chaos of fear as Jack realized he stood on the threshold of a life-altering decision. His journey would ultimately lead him to discover if the ghosts of his past could coalesce into a resurgence of hope, or if he'd forever let the echoes of laughter fade into silence. Jack's hands trembled slightly as he took a seat across from Mei Lin, the gentle creak of the old chair voicing his uncertainty. The room was filled with an awkward silence, the weight of their shared experiences pressing down on them like a summer storm cloud. This was not just an interaction, it was an unearthing of buried emotions, and the vulnerability that came with it felt both liberating and suffocating. "Thank you for coming," she said softly, her voice a melody that seemed to weave through the static of his inner turmoil. As she spoke, Jack found himself studying her features, their lines softened by the light streaming through the window. Here was someone who understood loss on a level he had only barely begun to confront. The very thought of connecting deeper sent a wave of both fear and exhilaration through him. "I've been thinking a lot about what we both carry," Jack began, choosing his words with care. "It feels like we both wear these invisible scars." He paused, gauging her reaction. May's eyes held a depth of understanding that made him feel seen, though it also threatened to expose the rawness of his grief. "Life here can feel so suffocating, can't it?" Mei replied, her gaze drifting momentarily to the horizon beyond the window. "I feel like I'm always trying to live up to expectations. My family's, the town's. It can be unbearable." Her admission hung in the air, the honesty laced with an unspoken yearning. Jack nodded, a flicker of recognition stirring within him. How often had he felt the same? The expectations of being a father, a provider, a figure tethered to the past, each role constraining him further until he became a mere semblance of the man he used to be. What if we didn't let those expectations define us, he suggested, his voice thickening with emotion. What if we chose something different? The boldness of his words surprised him, yet they felt necessary in the unfolding intimacy of their conversation. Mei turned her focus back to him, her eyes reflective as if weighing his proposition against her own hesitations. It would be risky, she replied, a hint of intrigue dancing in her tone. But maybe that's what we need. The carefully constructed barriers between them began to shift, exposing the soft underbelly of shared hope and desire. There was something electric in that moment, an understanding that they were both embarking on unfamiliar territory. Jack's heart raced. He was on the cusp of rediscovering passion, complicating his already tangled life. Confronting the prospect of letting another person in felt like standing at the edge of a precipice. The exhilaration melded with fear of the fall. Yet as their eyes held steady, a resolve began to take root within him. Just as he had sheltered his memories, now he needed to embrace the prospect of new memories, a collage of joy intertwined with love that had been dormant for too long. Let's take it one step at a time, Jack proposed, hearing the tremor of hope threaded through his words. He would cherish this moment while also acknowledging the weight of what lay ahead. The ghosts of their past might not fade completely, but perhaps they could transform into shadows, an echo of what had been, not what must always be. Just as he began to formulate plans for how their budding relationship could navigate the potential challenges, his phone vibrated in his pocket, a stark reminder of external reality. He glanced at the screen, seeing the dreaded name. A call from his daughter. A wave of guilt washed over him. Would pursuing Mei mean abandoning the bond he cherished with her? Could he balance his responsibilities with the desire for a new love? The moment felt suspended in space, as if the universe paused to question his choices, to challenge him on the complexities of fatherhood and the budding romance that flickered into existence. Jack? Mei asked, her voice a gentle nudge back to the present. I need to take this, he replied, standing to step outside, the tension of what was to come pulling him back to the reality he had momentarily escaped. Yet, deep down he couldn't shake the feeling. He stood at the brink of something life-changing. As he stepped outside, the weight of the unresolved mingled with the scent of possibility. He had glimpsed a new horizon with Mei Lin, and the fears of judgment or heartache now gnawed at the edges of his courage. Little did he realize that this moment of choice would lead him toward a confrontation, not only with his daughter's expectations, but also with what he truly desired, a chance to redefine love on his own terms. The genuine question lingered in the back of his mind. Could he truly embrace the risk that lay ahead? Jack stepped outside, the cool evening air wrapping around him like a balm against the uncertainty that flooded his mind. He welcomed the brief isolation, a moment detached from the weight of the decisions that loomed ahead. As his phone rang insistently, he tried to quell the gnawing guilt over his daughter's call. Hey, kiddo, he answered, forcing his voice to carry a brightness he didn't feel. Dad, are you busy? Olivia's voice, a blend of trepidation and expectation, made his stomach twist. The unease palpable from her end bled through the line. No, not at all. Just had a meeting about work. The lie felt heavy, but he pressed on, sensing the urgency in her tone. You promise? She asked, a hint of hope sparking in her words. Promise, he replied. I need to talk to you about something important. Can we meet, now? Olivia sounded younger, more vulnerable than he remembered. A pang shot through him. He was torn between her need and his emerging desire for connection with Mei. Sure, where? Jack asked, glancing back at the cafe where Mei sat, her gaze distant as she absent-mindedly toyed with her coffee cup. The sight tugged at him, a magnetic pull away from his daughter and towards the tantalizing prospect of something new. I'll come to the old barn. It's quieter there. All right, I'll be there soon. He hung up, his heart racing not just with fatherly concern, but with the weight of a decision that felt impossibly complex. Leaving the cafe, he was conscious of the trembling anticipation threading through him. If he cherished this connection with Mei, what would that mean for his relationship with Olivia? Balancing the two felt like conducting a delicate symphony, each note striving for harmony while threatening to clash discordantly. As Jack drove toward the barn, flashes of old memories collided with the present. He recalled hours spent there with Olivia, repairing broken fences, categorizing the tools, each moment suffused with laughter and lessons. They had transformed the space into their sanctuary, a shared haven away from life's demands. But now he felt the ground shifting beneath him. Olivia was growing up, inching toward independence, while he stood on the brink of exploring a new chapter in his own life. Upon reaching, he stepped out of the truck and was struck by the familiar scent of hay and aged wood. The barn stood resilient, much like his relationship with Olivia. But what he felt now was not only fatherly love. It was a concoction of trepidation and regret, anticipation and fear. "Dad?" Olivia's voice cut through his reverie as she emerged from the shadows, her brow furrowed with earnestness. Despite her youth, there was an evolving resolve in her demeanor that resonated with him. "Hey," Jack offered, trying to exude calm as he leaned against the barn door. "What's on your mind?" "I didn't want to just call," she began, stepping forward, her resolve palpable. Well, I've been thinking about you and Mom." The mention of her mother brought a sharp inhale, memories anchored in an unresolved past. "What about us?" he asked, keeping his voice steady. "I know things have changed since—" Her voice wobbled. "You're dating, aren't you?" Her question struck like a sudden gust of wind. He knew this was where the crux of their conversation lay, a painful intersection of honesty and the need for connection. It sparked something within him, a need to protect, to shield her heart while confronting his own. "I might be seeing someone," he admitted, gauging her expression for clues. "Someone from town?" Olivia's eyes widened slightly, shadowed with concern and curiosity. Jack hesitated. "Yes, her name is Mei," he started, but the rest of his confession felt lodged in his throat. "Do you like her?" Olivia pressed with a seriousness that left no room for evasion. The question hung thick in the air, each word a doorway into deeper truths. Jack took a breath, feeling the weight of his vulnerability. He didn't want to rush into this moment, yet his heart beat rapidly, catalyzed by an emerging understanding of what he truly desired. "I'm still figuring things out," he replied, testing the waters. For Olivia, it felt like a leaden silence. His confession sparked a whirlwind of emotions in her eyes, fear clashing with curiosity, sadness wrestling with the desire for her father's happiness. With that silence looming, Jack knew he had to confront the complexity of what lay ahead. He had to brave this reckoning, not just with Olivia, but within himself. The barn's sturdy walls bore witness to his internal battle, the realization dawning that to embrace love, he might have to face the ghosts of the past and steer his daughter towards acceptance. As he battled the swell of emotions gnawing inside him, a weightless question clung to the air. Could he validate his needs and simultaneously allow Olivia to navigate hers? The moment stretched, granting him a glimpse of the future, a path fraught with the potential for betrayal of expectations yet rich with the possibility for a deeper understanding. Jack felt a resolve hardening within. This was just the beginning, a crossroads that could shatter old assumptions yet give rise to a new foundation for both him and Olivia. He sensed her gaze still searching him, waiting for reassurance or guidance. "Let's talk," he finally said, voicing the determination to confront what lurked beneath, exposing frailties but revealing strength. The moment bristled with tension as their conversation began to unfold, ensuring that the past wouldn't bind him, but instead pave the way for what was to come. What lay ahead remained uncertain, but as he faced Olivia, he knew the conversation would uncover much more than their fractured past. It might very well unveil a path to understanding he had yet to fully grasp. Jack's resolve settled momentarily as anticipation mingled with anxiety. He could see that Olivia was searching his eyes, her expression an unsettling mix of curiosity and apprehension. The barn, dimly lit by twilight, took on an almost sacred quality, echoing the significance of the conversation about to unfold. Listen, Dad, Olivia began, her voice steadier now. I know that you and Mom, well, things were complicated between you two, and it's hard for me to see you with someone new. It feels like I'm losing you. She avoided his gaze, her fidgeting hands revealing cracks in her composure. Jack's heart sank. To face his daughter's fears head-on felt terrifying. He hadn't anticipated how deeply his circumstances would ripple out, affecting those he cared for most. You're not losing me. I'm still right here, he replied softly, desperate to convey the depth of his commitment to her. But it's not the same, she countered, eyes glistening in the dwindling light of the barn. What if you like her more than you ever liked Mom? What if she takes you away? The sadness in her voice pierced through Jack, and he momentarily felt unmoored, grappling with the concept that he had raised these fears within her. Olivia, we're starting new chapters, that's all. I'm sorry things have changed. It's been hard for both of us, he said, the words tumbling from his lips as he searched for truth in them. Hard for you? You're out there looking for someone to be with, Olivia shot back, her frustration and hurt surfacing. I'm here figuring out how to deal with losing my mom, my stable home. You've moved on, Dad, but to me things feel like they're falling apart. Jack braced himself against the barn's weathered wood, processing her words. A fire of determination ignited within him. He was not only her father, but a man trying to rebuild his own life. I want you to know that love has not disappeared because your mom and I are not together anymore, he said, choosing each word deliberately. I still love you very much, and I care about Mei, but I want you to understand, no one can or will replace your mom. Her silence seemed to vibrate around them, charged with unspent energy. It was a moment that birthed a choice. Would he prioritize his own needs in this newfound pursuit, or would he lean in closer, attuning himself to Olivia's turmoil? What if you like her more than you liked Mom? Olivia asked again, the vulnerability in her voice underscoring the gravity of the question. Jack inhaled sharply, this time cognizant of the weight behind the inquiry. What would it mean if he did? I don't know how to compare love, Liv, he admitted. But what I do know is that moving forward means having open conversations. It's all about being honest when feelings change, even when it's uncomfortable. Olivia's expression shifted from anger to reluctance as she absorbed his words. She took a step back, arms crossing protectively over her chest. And what if it hurts? Love sometimes requires us to face pain, he replied, the weight of experience tinting his voice. But it can also lead us to unexpected joy. I want to share that joy with you if you let me. For a moment, silence enveloped them, heavy with realizations. Jack did not know how to mend every break, but he did recognize the strength in vulnerability. He had to trust that they could navigate this struggle together. So what happens now? Olivia asked, her voice quieter, as if she were sensing the ground underneath her feet shifting. No longer a fortress against change, but an uncertain terrain. I'd like to take it day by day, he suggested gently, and invite you into my world while also being there for yours. We'll go through this together. Her small nod felt like a lifebuoy thrown into the churning waters of their circumstances. Jack sensed they had just dipped their toes into a deeper dialogue, a realm of honesty that had previously felt fraught with danger. As he gazed at her, the barn once again felt vibrant with life, the walls standing tall, grounded in history, yet allowing for transformation. He wondered if maybe they both could learn to embrace change, to move past loss, but within him stirred a different question, one branched from his heart. Could he truly structure his life around his evolving feelings for Mei, whilst keeping the bond with Olivia intact? The conversation had merely set the stage, revealing hints of what they faced ahead. As they stood together, he knew the complexity lay ahead, and as time stretched between them, Jack realized an unsettling truth. In embracing new love, could he reforge the ties with the old? Both the love for his past and the promise for his future. With uncertainty looming, Jack felt a familiar weight on his chest. The time had come to face decisions that would reshape not just his life, but Olivia's as well. Would he rise to the challenge, or would he find himself again running from what really mattered? Jack stood at the threshold of the barn, the trepidation in his chest mingling with a powerful determination. The conversation with Olivia had sparked something deep within him, a need to rethink everything, to consciously evaluate each thread that wove through his life now. He couldn't afford to be passive anymore. He noticed his grip tightening on the barn door, its weathered wood grain under the pressure of his hands. Here, among the familiar scents of hay and animal feed, was a place that had always offered him solace. Yet today, it felt constricting, a pressing reminder that the world and his daughter were moving forward, with or without him. Jack considered the weight of his role as a father. It had been all too easy to focus on his own needs as he explored this new relationship with Mei, to want to leap toward the light of a fresh love without acknowledging the shadows it cast on Olivia. He knew he had been trying to balance beams that were straining under his own shifting weight. Was it possible to nurture a new romance while ensuring his daughter felt secure and loved? Determined to not shy away from the hard truths anymore, Jack closed his eyes and took a deep breath, focusing on grounding himself. He needed more than just passive openness. He needed to actively start rebuilding his relationship with Olivia. With that in mind, he turned and walked back toward the house, each step laced with newfound resolve. The soft glow of the kitchen lights welcomed him. He entered to find Olivia still sitting at the table, a half-finished drawing spread before her. As he approached, he noticed her furrowed brow, the colored pencils scattered like seeds of turmoil. "Hey, can I see?" he asked, pulling out a chair to sit across from her. Olivia glanced up, the sudden shift in her expression reflecting the guardedness that still lingered. "It's just a sketch," she mumbled, turning it slightly away from him. "Sketches can tell a lot about what's going on inside. It might help if we talk about it," he offered, not pushing, but inviting. She looked at him, her vulnerability laying bare beneath her reluctance. "It's just about how I feel, about this whole situation." Jack leaned in, his own heart open, acknowledging the depth of what was unfolding between them. "Then let's talk it out. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to learn." Reluctantly, Olivia reached for the drawing again, and with a sigh, she slid it toward him. There was a figure standing alone beneath a sprawling tree, branches extending protectively over it. "It's me, I guess. I feel like I'm watching life happening, but not really being a part of it, like everyone else is moving on without me." The stark honesty struck Jack hard, and he sat in the silence for a moment, allowing her words to sink in. "Olivia, I want you to know that we're a team. Your feelings are valid, and I want to support you through this, just like you're supporting me." He could see the hesitance in her eyes begin to waver. Even if it means you're with someone else, especially because of that. It's a part of life. Love evolves. But I want you by my side while we navigate this. "It doesn't change how much I care about you," he replied, conviction fueling his voice. A flicker of hope ignited within her. "What if it still hurts? What if I don't want to see you with Mei? Then we'll talk about it. Always. I promise to be here for you, whether we're navigating through joy or hurt," he assured her. "Let's face it together." Olivia finally nodded, her shoulders relaxing as if releasing an invisible burden. This was a dialogue, Jack realized, he would have to keep returning to, a promise to stay connected even as life changed around them. As the conversation shifted into more lighthearted topics, Jack felt the weight on his chest lift, each shared laugh becoming another stitch and reinforcement in the fabric of their relationship. Yet amid the easy exchange, a nagging thought persisted. Could he truly reassure Olivia of his evolving feelings for Mei without risking the very foundations of their father-daughter bond? He sensed a looming challenge ahead, a necessity to balance his heart's desires with his fatherly responsibilities. With Olivia slowly easing into the idea of change, Jack felt a mix of cautious optimism and the shadow of doubt that loomed over decisions yet to come. As their laughter faded into a comfortable silence, a new question arose in Jack's mind, complicating the newfound peace. Would he have to choose between ensuring Olivia's security and pursuing the potential for love with Mei. The conflict brewed, and Jack knew the next conversation would be critical as they delved deeper into the heart of rebuilding their lives amidst uncertainty. Jack leaned back in his chair, the remnants of their conversation lingering in the air like the scent of fresh-cut hay. Olivia's sketch lay between them, a silent testament to the bridge he was trying to build. For the first time in months, he felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps they were steering towards a stronger bond. Yet that comfort did little to quiet the raging storm of unresolved questions. How could he navigate his changing feelings towards Mei while ensuring that Olivia felt secure in their evolving family dynamic? The more he thought about it, the more daunting the task seemed. Every decision now felt weighty, laced with the complexities of fatherhood and the uncertainty that change always brought. It was clear to him that the stakes had risen, not just for him but for Olivia as well. He pushed his chair back, the sound sharp against the wooden floor, pulling himself from the reverie and deciding action was needed. The small town around them often felt stifling, but it also brimmed with opportunities. If there was one thing he knew for sure, it was that they could not move forward without creating new memories together. "Olivia," he began, leaning slightly forward, "how about we take a trip to my favorite hiking spot this weekend? We could enjoy nature, just the two of us. What do you think?" Her eyes brightened unexpectedly. The offer resonated with her need for connection, for adventures that felt just out of reach. "Can we take that trail that leads to the waterfall?" she asked, her fingers nervously fiddling with the colored pencils again. Such a small shift produced a surge of warmth in Jack. "Absolutely. It'll be fun, I promise. We can pack a lunch and explore." With each word, he felt an internal commitment to engage with her in every sense. "Okay," she replied, her apprehension melting away momentarily, revealing a glimmer of excitement. As they transitioned from the kitchen table to planning the small excursion, Jack felt a spark ignite within him, a resolve to be more than just a passive caregiver. Spending meaningful time with his daughter was the first step in mutual healing, and it felt like a path to reclaiming their shared rhythm. But as the weekend approached, anxiety snaked back into his thoughts. What if Olivia struggled to accept seeing him with Mei afterward? Would this hike reinforce their bond, or merely delay the confrontation he sensed looming ahead? Each scenario unfolded like a film reel in his mind, exacerbating the fear of potential outcomes. By Thursday evening, Jack felt a strange mix of anticipation and dread. He resorted to focusing on practicalities, packing the perfect lunch, choosing the right trail, hoping that by establishing a joyful environment, he could quell the heavier complexities of their lives. But then, amid his preparations, a voice echoed in his thoughts, one that hinted at more than just logistical concerns. What if Olivia needed him to confront these issues, instead of hiding behind shared fun? He couldn't brush aside her feelings, or the realities that loomed ahead. As Friday bled into Saturday, Jack found himself standing outside on the porch, the cool morning air filling his lungs. He watched Olivia chatter about her drawings, her way of processing the world. Perhaps it wasn't just about taking her on a hike. It was also about creating a space where she felt safe to express her fears, her views on love, and all the shuffle of emotions they were both navigating. "Olivia," he said slowly, seeking the right words, "how do you really feel about Mei?" Her expression shifted, a mixture of surprise and contemplation flashing across her face. "Do you like her?" she asked, her curiosity tinged with caution. Jack hesitated, the answer resting heavily on his tongue, encumbered by the implications of honesty. If he told her the truth, would that deepen her fears of being replaced and shatter their fragile groundwork? Or would it allow them the opportunity to navigate these emotions together? As the harsh sunlight broke through the clouds illuminating the path ahead, he realized this conversation could mark a pivotal moment for them both. He could feel the tension mounting, swelling with the weight of his decision, and he understood deep down that it was time to confront not just Olivia's emotions but his as well. In that charged moment, he wondered if he would find the courage to answer her with honesty. Would he navigate through this dialogue with empathy and resilience, or would it devolve into confusion and hurt? His gaze held steady on his daughter, the question lingering between them. Was he ready to face the truth together, even if it meant exposing vulnerabilities? The stakes had never felt higher, and as he held his breath preparing for whatever came next, he pondered if perhaps this was the beginning of a new path, the moment they both needed to step into the light of understanding, however daunting. Jack swallowed hard, his mouth dry as a desert. He looked at Olivia, whose innocent eyes shimmered with anticipation, prompting a wave of protective instinct to wash over him. The question she posed hung heavy in the air, and he felt as if the weight of the world was balanced on his shoulders. I think she's nice," he said slowly, weighing each word as if it were a fragile egg. "But liking someone doesn't mean I love you any less." The truth felt both liberating and suffocating. Olivia's expression remained enigmatic. "But what if you love her more?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. It pierced through him like a needle, sharp and unnerving. "I won't," he said firmly, determined to quell her fears. "You're my number one, Olivia. That will never change." The conviction in his voice surprised him, his heart swelling with a newfound certainty that anchored him amidst the storm of his feelings. As they packed the lunch together, Olivia took the opportunity to delve deeper. "What do you even like about her, Dad? Is it her smile? Her hair?" The playful curiosity was a welcome distraction, drawing them both into a moment of shared laughter. Jack couldn't suppress a grin. "Well, I do think she has a pretty smile, but do you know what I really like?" "What?" "She brings out a side of me that I sometimes forget exists. It's like, I don't know, like discovering a hidden trail in the woods you thought you knew well." The metaphor made sense. He had been lost in the dense thicket of complexities surrounding relationships, the trauma of his past blurring his vision. Wasn't it time he embraced this new chapter, even if it came with its own share of bumps along the way? "I want you to know that it's okay to feel worried or scared about all this," he continued, gauging her reaction. "It's not fair, Dad. I don't want to share you." "Sharing isn't losing," he replied, a soft sincerity wrapping around every word. "A good relationship can grow with love, not divide it. And so can our relationship." He hoped she felt the depth of his commitment. "I guess," she said, chewing on her bottom lip. They finished packing and set out towards the hiking trail, the sun slowly ascending, casting a warm glow over everything in sight. Nature unfolded around them in a dance of colors and earthy scents that often soothed Jack's restless spirit. As they walked, he felt the heaviness of the earlier conversation lighten with each step, but the fear of what lay ahead still loomed in the back of his mind. Would Olivia retain this sense of security when they encountered Mei next? Would their hike bond them or create deeper fissures in the fragile foundation they were laying? On the trail, they navigated roots and rocks, Olivia's laughter ringing out like a melody amidst the rustle of leaves. Each moment sparked joy, yet Jack couldn't ignore the tug of his worries. "Hey, what if we made a pact?" Jack suggested as they paused to admire a blooming wildflower. "What kind of pact?" Olivia asked, eyes brightening with curiosity. "A truth pact. Whenever you feel worried about anything, about me or about Mei, you can talk to me anytime. No worrying alone, okay?" A thoughtful furrow creased her brow, but then a smile broke through. "Deal. But you have to promise to talk to me too. About Mei, I mean." With that, Jack felt an invisible wall dismantle between them, a vow mutual in its sincerity. The conversations ahead would be difficult, but if they could face the unknown together, perhaps they could transcend the complexities that loomed in their lives elegantly, one cautious step at a time. As they resumed their hike, the tension transformed into anticipation of a new chapter, ripe with possibilities. Jack felt his resolve swell. He needed to prepare for their scheduled dinner with Mei. He had seen Olivia's eyes cloud with doubt this morning, and it was time to reassess how he would approach this confrontation head-on. Just as he took a step forward, resolute in his plan, a shadow of a figure appeared at the edge of their trail, blocking their path. He recognized her instantly, Mei, standing there, seemingly waiting for them. Jack's heart raced, the earlier courage wavering as the reality of the imminent confrontation unfurled. Facing Mei would test everything he had hoped to build with Olivia, and uncertainty loomed strong. Would this unplanned moment solidify their familial bonds or unravel them further? The time had come to face what he had practiced for. Jack's mind raced, torn between the necessity of addressing his budding relationship with Mei and the desire to shield Olivia from discomfort. He studied Mei's posture, standing confidently but with apprehension flickering in her eyes. It struck him just then. They were caught in an intricate web of respect and fear, each of them navigating the same precarious feelings, yet unable to articulate them. "Mei," he greeted, his voice steadier than he felt. "What a surprise to see you here." "Hi, Jack," she replied with a nervous smile, her gaze drifting to Olivia. The tension thickened the air around them. Olivia broke the silence, her small stature shifting protectively in front of Jack. "Are you coming with us?" The fragility of the moment gnawed at Jack. Olivia was right to feel threatened. This was uncharted territory for both of them. We were just about to head up the trail," he said, putting all of his effort into sounding casual. "We could use some company." Mei hesitated, uncertainty tightening the space between them. "I don't want to intrude." "Not at all," Jack pressed, sensing that the invitation was pivotal. "Your company would be great." The three of them set off down the trail, a delicate balance of unease and anticipation hanging between them. Jack's heart thundered, and he was hyper-aware of Olivia's presence, glancing sideways to gauge her reaction. As they walked, the cool air blushed with the scent of pine, and the sunlight dipped through the canopy, casting patches of warmth around them. "Do you hike often?" Olivia piped up, breaking the silence and redirecting attention towards Mei. A brave move. This was her way of finding common ground, and Jack admired her intuitive grasp of the dynamics at play. "Not as much as I'd like," Mei answered, her voice softening. "But I love being outdoors. It helps me clear my mind." A lull fell over them, each person lost in their thoughts. Jack contemplated the future. This moment felt pregnant with possibilities and potential pitfalls. Would it solidify the connection with Mei, or would it reinforce Olivia's insecurities? "Maybe we can tackle a deeper trail next time, right, Olivia?" Jack suggested, determined to reinforce their truth pact from earlier. "Get a little lost and discover something new." "Like you discover the best parts of yourself, right?" Olivia replied, a spark of childish rebellion lighting her words. Mei's eyes brightened, and Jack felt a crack in the tension. Exactly. Self-discovery often comes from unexpected places. "Yes," Mei added, "and sometimes the things we fear can lead to the most beautiful revelations." The sincerity in her voice cut through the tension, offering a glimpse of understanding amidst the chaos. Jack saw a shift in Olivia's expression. The tension transformed into grudging acceptance. He knew there was still much to unpack, but this moment, however small, felt like a victory. Challenging conversations awaited, but perhaps he was gaining confidence in episode by episode. As they reached a bend in the trail and the view opened up to a breathtaking panorama of rolling hills, Jack paused. This was the moment he had to seize, this breathtaking distraction, a perfect prelude to the conversations ahead. "Let's take a break here," he suggested, keen to let Olivia find comfort in the scenery. He gestured to a weathered log, inviting them to sit. As they settled, Jack could feel the weight of what was to come settling upon him. He realized that facing Mei required more than mere conversation. It required vulnerability and openness, characteristics he had long kept under wraps. "Mei," he began, his heart racing as the words assembled in his mind. Just then a sharp rustle from the bushes disrupted him, drawing everyone's attention. The noise reverberated like an unwelcome omen, and he felt his heart slump into uncertainty. This moment of vulnerability was swiftly slipping into unknown territory again. What else could disrupt this pivotal conversation? Would it lead to deeper revelations or shifts in their fragile balance? Jack realized the trajectory of his life was about to take another unforeseen turn, and he braced himself for whatever lay ahead. The rustling turned into a curious deer stepping into the light, its gentle eyes casting a magical aura over the trio. Jack took a deep breath, appreciating the unexpected moment of wonder. The sight offered a momentary reprieve from his swirling thoughts. The deer stood still and serene, reminding him of nature's quiet resilience. "Look at that," Jack exclaimed as he pointed toward the deer, breaking the tension that had bound them. Olivia's eyes lit up, the earlier apprehension momentarily forgotten as she turned her gaze toward the peaceful creature. "Wow, it's beautiful," she whispered, a soft awe in her voice. Mei shared in her wonder, her smile blossoming, and in that brief instant of shared admiration, a bridge began to form between them. As the deer gracefully ambled away, Jack felt a shift in the atmosphere, a warmth enveloping them that hadn't been there before. It was as if nature had conspired to ease their emotional turmoil, reminding them of the beauty in the world that still existed amidst uncertainty. Jack refocused on the moment at hand, heart steadying with the resolve he had cultivated. "Mei, I think it's time we embrace this new path we're on," he began, holding her gaze, eager to embrace the vulnerability that loomed ahead. "I've really enjoyed getting to know you. It feels good to share laughter in moments like this, but I need to be honest about where I'm at." His candidness hung in the air and he felt the tension return but transformed. It was now laced with hope rather than fear. Mei took a deep breath, nodding her understanding. "I appreciate your honesty, Jack," she replied, her voice a soothing balm. "I feel the same way. I value the connection we're building, even if the world around us complicates things." Jack could see Olivia's attentiveness as they spoke, her posture shifting from protective to curious. This was the moment he had needed, the moment not just for him and Mei, but also for Olivia to witness how honesty could foster understanding. "Olivia and I have been talking about how love isn't about replacing what was lost," Jack continued, "but rather about rediscovering life's potential, even when shadows linger." Olivia glanced between them, her expression softening as if she were beginning to process the depth of their conversations. "I know it's hard to see me with someone else," he added, his gaze swinging back to his daughter. "If I was in your shoes, I'd probably feel the same. But when I see you both here, it makes me hopeful." He paused, deliberating on his words, gathering the courage to address Olivia's fears directly. "You're my priority. You can trust that, even as new feelings grow." Olivia's smile was tentative, yet it felt significant, a sign of moving beyond defensiveness. "I'm just scared, Dad. Scared I'll lose you," she admitted, the vulnerability easy to see. Jack's heart clenched to hear her pain. "You can never lose me, Liv. You and I have been through too much together for that to change. I want you to be a part of this, to help me navigate this relationship with us both involved. We all have stories that intertwine." With earnestness, Jack turned to Mei, seeking her endorsement, and found her nodding, her own eyes glimmering with understanding. "We can't dictate how relationships evolve," she added, "but what's essential is the bond we build together. I will always respect that." Jack felt a weight lift. The interaction felt right, grounded in respect and the burgeoning connections that had begun to form like roots beneath their feet. "Let's make this pact," he suggested, reaching for both their hands. "To share our feelings openly, to embrace life as it comes, and to support one another despite how complicated it gets." They both nodded, sealing the vulnerability with their agreement. Jack's heart surged with confidence. The connection so often strained began to feel stronger as they dedicated themselves to nurturing these relationships anew. They spent the next hour sharing stories, laughing, and allowing moments to weave them closer. Jack reveled in the ease of it, the bubble of connection forming against the vast uncertainty of love and life. As they walked back toward the truck, Jack could feel the warmth of hope radiating through him. The conversations the three of them had shared created a refuge amidst the storms they faced individually and together. As they approached the vehicle, Olivia glanced up at him, her courage blossoming. "Can we go to that cafe where you took me last summer? I'd like to celebrate all of this, being honest and us growing together." Jack chuckled, warmth prickling his heart. "Of course, sweetheart. That sounds perfect. They climbed in, and as Jack glanced in the rearview mirror, he saw Mei share a smile with Olivia that filled him with gratitude. They ventured toward the cafe, each of them transformed by the earlier dialogue. Jack felt he had conquered not just the walls around his heart, but redefined his relationship with Olivia, while simultaneously building a new foundation with Mei. In stepping forward from grief into the vibrant possibilities of love, Jack realized they had all embarked on a journey towards hope and healing, an unexpected partnership manifesting through laughter, understanding, and shared vulnerability. As the sun sank on the horizon, marking the close of one chapter and the vibrant dawn of another, Jack felt a profound sense of achievement. He had decided to embrace change, acknowledging that while loss was a part of love, so too was the potential for new beginnings. This was just the beginning, but Jack was ready to navigate the complexities ahead together, step by step. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know you're enjoying it. Comment your reactions and theories about this transformative ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion and be inspired by the journey of love and healing. Don't wait even one more second to show your support for this channel.